Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and tonight we're going to split some firewood and work on optimizing the workflow in the wood yard. You see behind me, my pond is completely full and about to overflow. It's because it's been raining for a solid week. And it's been really hard to get any work done. It's been hard to get the yard mowed. I got the mower stuck yesterday. And it has rained hard all day. And I was just sitting in the house wishing I could get out and do something. And I thought, why did I move the wood yard inside the Quonset hut if I'm not going to split wood when it's raining? So this is my Quonset hut, and I use it now as a wood processing area. You can see here we've got half a tote of slab wood that's split up. My slab rack is full, and I've got a mess around it that I didn't clean up last time I did slab wood. You can see over here, we've got the sawmill and the tractor and the mini skid. Then over here we have the firewood equipment. We've got the vertical processor, we've got the Easton Made Ultra, and we've got the skid steer mount splitter. And then over here we have the new log deck that I just built that lets me cut rounds up and then keep them at working height instead of having to pick them up off the ground again. And of course we've still got these two machines that are for sale if someone comes along and wants to pay me a fair price for them. And I forgot, that chain's dull because I hit it on the ground here in the shop. Time to sharpen a chain. Probably everybody's got their favorite way to sharpen a chain. I don't think necessarily there's a right way or a wrong way. What I use is the Steel 3-in-1 sharpener. What this is round files and flat files in a fancy holder that establishes the height difference between the round and the flat. It sharpens the tooth and the raker at the same time. I've heard people say that they feel like this is too aggressive on the rakers. I really haven't noticed that to be a problem, but I've been using this almost the whole time I'm working, so maybe I'm just used to a more aggressive filing on the rakers. Anyway, we'll touch this up and then get back to work. I figured it out one other time and forgot that if there's material overhanging, cut both ends first. Otherwise, when you get to that last one, it'll try to shift on you. I've had a bunch of people asking for updates on my diet, and I don't want to bore you guys but I'll mention it real quick. I talked about it in the live stream the other day, but I think there were only 50 people on that live stream from each platform, so probably most of you didn't hear it. But me and my dad are both doing the carnivore diet, which means we're only eating animal products. And really, so I'm only eating red meat. He's mostly only eating animal products. He's not sticking to it 100%. But he just came off of a heart surgery about 4 years ago. He had open heart surgery. And after this heart surgery, of course, he's on all kinds of medication, and his blood pressure would still be 180, 190 top number. And then, you know, he wasn't wanting to tell my mom that his blood pressure was still so high because he didn't want to go back in, which is bad, you know. Same kind of stubborn streak that kept me from admitting that I needed to go on the medication. So I weighed 286 pounds. I had high blood pressure. It was always over 150. Every time I went to the doctor, they told me I had to go on medication. They prescribed me with medication. I said, I'm not taking it. And I came on here and I made a video saying I had 90 days to either get my blood pressure and my weight under control. I made a pledge that if I did not fix this within 90 days, I was going back to the doctor. I was going to take the blood pressure medicine. My 90-day update, I think I'd lost 40 pounds or so, and my blood pressure was completely under control, getting numbers that were 110 to 120 on the top number, bottom number in the 70s. Now we're at 5 months since I went on the carnivore diet. I weighed 286. Today, I was 218 pounds. So at 218 pounds, 6 foot tall, I've lost 68 pounds. And my blood pressure is consistently under 120 on the top number, about 70 on the bottom. Resting heart rate will be in the 60s. Like, that's what your numbers are supposed to be. But I was so far removed from that, and it had been that way for years. This wasn't something that had just happened. And if you want to know, well, what do? I keep it as simple as it could possibly be. And what that means is I bought a whole half a cow and half of a hog from local farmers. So it's clean, as you know, local. So you're talking about animals that were allowed to graze, should be a healthier, higher quality meat. And I filled my deep freeze up with the meat from that pig and the cow. And all I do, I go in there every day and I grab 2 packages of meat, pretty much at random. There'll be, it might be a package of hamburger meat and some pork chops. And one's breakfast, one's dinner. I do that basically 7 days a week. If we have to go somewhere, there might be some kind of change to my routine. But in general, 7 days a week, I just grab 2 random packages of meat, and that's what I have every day. I don't put anything on it but salt and pepper, and I don't drink anything but black coffee and water. And if you think that's extreme, I would also say it's pretty extreme to be a fairly young guy, I'm 43 years old, and not be able to have mobility and have to be on that medication. To me, that's extreme, and I don't want to be that kind of extreme. So this is working out great for me, and I wanted to give an update because people are asking for it, and it's been a blessing. My whole life's a blessing. I can't put my gratitude into words. You look down there, see that beautiful pond? I'm the steward of all this. I never would have believed I would have a life where I got to take care of this property for a living. So thank you guys. Doing firewood in here, you're going to wind up with material like this. It's excess that needs cleaned up, and that mini skid is perfect for this because it's so small, and you can fit it and maneuver it in here, and it's got a light touch with a clear point of view. My tractor I've had, the John Deere, and the new one are both too big to bring in here and maneuver and clear this out. So just another example that there's a proper purpose for every machine. So this side of the Quonset hut is completely cleaned out and ready for use. I've got this slab rack here. We've got the sawmill. I have a lot of room. I'll probably park machines in here. Couple things over there where that gas can and the bundler are. Those will be moved. The bundler will go over on this side somewhere. And I'll probably add some more rock over here and then set up a lumber drying area over there that will be mostly protected indoors. But this side, I don't know what to do with. So obviously these messes right now, I'm going to clean these up and then you'll have a better view of it. This is just some split wood that needs stacked. This over here needs restacked. The engine hoist is going to stay there. I sometimes use it with the sawmill. I'll probably, wherever I don't set up the splitters, I'll put some stacks of firewood in here to stay dry, but they don't have to be. If I need the space in here, I'll take all the firewood out. If I don't, I'll store firewood in here. But I can put the tractor and the mini skid steer easily both parked over there. I could put some other attachments in here. We'll just see over time, I guess. But mainly, this is going to be a firewood work area. So the log deck right there was built to be partnered with this splitter because it doesn't have a log lift. This splitter will go off separate and it will go with the bundler. That's for the smaller wood, controlled sizes, big rounds if I want to use the log lift, things like that. This splitter is going to be used specifically with the log deck. And my original plan was to put the log deck dead center right here. But then how would I get the logs on it? So it has to go further back somewhere with the Easton made next to it. But then where does, gosh, at that point, where do my firewood totes go? Because when the wood comes off there, it's got to go in the totes. So I've got a lot to figure out. For today, what I think I'm going to do is get this wood cleaned up and then just process a couple logs from there onto here and see what the workflow is like. All right, so I guess we can fire this up. Got the fuel on, choke on. Now my decision is this my process? I need to take the hitch off of it. It should not have that receiver on the front. Essentially, there's no reason to drop the wood onto that and just beat it up over time. But Sandy, which I modeled my log deck after Sandy, shout out to Sawing with Sandy, but he set his splitter up on an elevated platform so it pushed wood straight into these totes. I may give into it, but right now I don't like the idea of loose stacked totes, loose thrown totes. I want it all stacked in there. Okay, I would say this probably is not the final location for the log deck, but actually it's not bad either. Okay, let's see what kind of workflow we get here. I know there's a lot of setup time in getting the log up here and getting the rounds cut and moving stuff around, but the actual splitting time on this is just so fast. And I honestly think if I'm going to set it up the way that I have right now, this is about right. Split one log and it fits in between here. Throw this one log into the tote. Now you might have more logs on there, or if you have two people, you know, there's always variables. But essentially, with one log, there's about the right amount of wood to fill up in between where I've got my tote and the splitter. Some of you may feel like this stuff needs split up a little bit smaller, but I only sold, all of the wood I sold this year was to the same two people, and they just kept coming back for more. And both of those guys said they liked the bigger pieces. Even the slab wood that was big and had the bark on it, they liked that wood. So I don't think it really matters what size and shape and variety of wood that you sell. All that matters is that there's a clear understanding between the person selling and the person buying. So sometimes someone will call and say, do you have any firewood? I said, yeah, I've got some, but it's not the best. It's mixed species, it may not be dry. That's why it's cheap. And other times, I'll say, yeah, this is about $10, $15 more per tote because this is all oak and it's split small and it's fully seasoned. So like everything else, really just comes down to communication. Well, I won't say it was a super productive day, but I got all that mess cleaned up over there, and I finished 2 partial totes and did a 3rd tote, got all this organized, and now I have a feel for what I want to do in here, and I feel really good about it. And the alternative is, if I hadn't moved this stuff in here, if I had all my attachments just stacked in here, I couldn't have done any work today. I couldn't have worked out there. It's rained the whole day while I was in here doing this. And it's a mud pit, and trying to do it out there, even if I could, every time you move a machine, it just makes a mess. So really happy with my decision to bring this in here. Looking forward to updating you guys after I've worked in here quite a few more days and decided on a routine that actually works. I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.